Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists. He counted on America to be passive. He counted wrong.
You. People who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Passive. He counted wrong.
And there's intimacy on the radio, and there's naturalness on the radio that can never be replicated on TV. The marvelous resurgence of radio as a political force in this country.
There's a huge hole in our dialogue that can be filled by the synthesis of traditional radio and the freedom that comes from a live podcast. You're about to experience Cowboy State Politics live. Here we go. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to another incredible installment of Cowboy State Politics Live. From very high above all the puerile and insipid forms of Wyoming mainstream media, this is Cowboy State Politics. I, of course, am your illustrious host, David Iverson, firmly and permanently ensconced behind the silver Cowboy State Politics microphone and broadcasting to you from the base of the Bighorns at the Cowboy State Politics studio in Sheridan, Wyoming. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to this slightly later than usual installment of the program. I hope you enjoyed our extended morning show where we went through the debates piece by piece and played a whole bunch of sound bites. You know, I have to tell you that last night when the lovely Christine and I were watching the debates, I kind of thought, like, my initial gut reaction was, all right, I didn't like either of them. I think that Kamala Harris was trying to baffle everybody with bullcrap, which is what you have to do if you don't have anything that you can argue. But on the other side, I thought that Donald Trump was, in many cases, inartful, that he took the bait a lot. Let's be honest, Kamala Harris set him up for a lot of things that she kind of knew that he would tee off on, and I'm sure that they prepared for those. And so my initial gut reaction was probably very similar to what a lot of you thought. I talked to a couple of longtime listeners of the program this morning, and they kind of had the same impression that, well, you know, Kamala Harris may have run away with it. But I think when you actually listen to what was said in the debate, you'll have a very different impression. There are a number of polls online. One of them is on my Twitter feed, and there's something like, and of course, it's an informal poll. Media outlets call these things informal polls so they can try to discredit them. But the amount of people that responded to this thing is what I think makes it credible. So let's see if I can get here. Here we go. So on this one, to date, right now, there are 269,326 votes in this informal poll on Twitter. So, you know, whether it is, you know, classically styled, how polls are supposed to be, you know, or how the media says polls are supposed to be done, or if it's, you know, just a broad cross section, I would say 269,000 people is a crap ton. I think that that's enough responses to say that, you know what, this poll is probably dead on. And 61% of the people that responded to this poll say that Trump won the debate. And only 29% say Kamala Harris won the debate. Now, the detractors of that are, you know, commenting on this thing, they're saying, well, you know, it's all of these Republicans that are on Twitter now. You know, Elon Musk, he's just catering to all of these wacko right-wingers. I don't think so. Not with 269 responses. And so, given that, and I think when you listen to what we talked about on the morning show, you'll come to the same conclusion that in truth, it was Donald Trump that won that debate. Now, I'll admit, in my professional opinion, and I explained this on the morning show, that I have probably participated in at least a couple thousand different debates at varying levels, high school, college, and professionally. My honest assessment is I would give the debate begrudgingly to Donald Trump. I don't think that he performed particularly well. However, he scored some serious points. And on the other side, there was absolutely no substance coming from Kamala Harris. So I don't see how anybody could really give her the win. And I don't think, considering that online poll, and there are others, saying pretty much having the same result, that I don't think that anybody can say that Kamala Harris won that thing. Now, one thing that was interesting last night is immediately following the debate, and I'm saying like within 5 minutes, Fox News was reporting that the Harris team was asking for a second debate. Now, if they thought that they had run away with this thing, that they had knocked it out of the park, that they had delivered a death blow to the Trump campaign, well, they wouldn't be asking for another debate. They wouldn't need one. There would be no reason for it. So the question then is, why indeed were they asking for a second debate? Well, it's, the liberal pundits are saying, well, it's just one more chance to smack around the former president. It's not it at all. They want another bite at the apple, another swing at the plate, as it were, because they were not impressed at all with Kamala Harris's performance. As it relates specifically to her performance, there were a lot of platitudes that were pre-planned. You could tell that she was very well prepared. And I don't mean well prepared in terms of policy and information and all of the things that you would need to win a debate. What I mean is she learned her lines well. She memorized the lines that she was going to use in the debate. Now, there was one question that Joey brought up that I've given some more thought to. And there's a lot of things floating around on the internet focused on Kamala Harris's earrings. Now, I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory or not. Some people are claiming that she had these, earrings that were earbuds type of things. I don't know if that's true or not. Just about after every debate, whether it's true or not, there are folks online that claim that, well, the Democrats, they cheated. They had an earpiece in for the candidate. Now, at least in one case, that was absolutely true. Donna Brazile rigged the debate for Hillary Clinton. So that's true. That's Democrat history. So it is not at least beyond the scope of what the Democrats are capable of to say that they may have rigged the debate. Now, Joey's question was, do I think that she was given the questions ahead of time? Upon further reflection, I don't think that she needed to. I don't think that they needed to, because it followed the classic script that the liberal media always uses to attack Donald Trump. The January 6th and the very fine people on both sides, and the bloodbath comment, and he's too old, and he says things that are crazy. So it just followed the same script. So all the Harris campaign had to do was prepare for those few topics, and I think that's exactly what they did. Now, did they give her the questions ahead of time? I think that there's plenty of reason why they may. Kamala Harris, as Joey astutely pointed out, she's friends with the guy that runs ABC News, so why wouldn't he do that? If he wouldn't get caught, why wouldn't he say, well, this is what David Muir is going to ask in the debate? So anyway, take that as it were. I really do think that the big story out of the debate is not between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. I think the real story is ABC News, about how they completely disregarded any semblance of journalism. They didn't set out to moderate a fair debate. And let me just explain why that's important, because the idea behind a debate is to get two candidates to engage in a battle of ideas, to find out, who is the better candidate. Well, when your favored candidate is one of them, and you're a hyper-partisan political hack that just happens to be on TV, you don't really have any interest in moderating a fair debate. Why would you? That wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't service your political ambitions. And let's be honest, most of these people in the media, at least on ABC News, PMS, NBC, the Communist News Network, they're all partisan hacks. And they have made no bones about it. They are completely in the tank for Kamala Harris, and they really don't like Donald Trump because, well, they're all a bunch of socialists. And, helping Donald Trump out by moderating a fair debate doesn't service their interest. Now, compare the ABC News debate to the CNN debate. I think by far CNN did a much better job. Now, I was a fan of all the questions that were asked by CNN. But I think by and large, considering the forum, considering that it was Dana Bash that was one of the moderators, considering that they're all very publicly in support of Joe Biden, CNN was way more fair than was ABC News. So I think it's pretty clear that ABC News totally in the tank for Kamala Harris, that they didn't really care about being journalists, that they were there to help out Kamala Harris. And I think that came through pretty clearly. But now let's move to reaction from the Wyoming media. And of course, about the only political reporter left besides myself, Joey Carenti, and our pal Tom Kelly. The only political reporter left is Trotsky Wolfson. And you know that Trotsky is not in any way going to help out Donald Trump. And here's why we say this. And he's got a piece out this morning. It's entitled, Wyoming Delegation Claims Win for Trump in First Debate with Kamala. Now, the first few paragraphs is just kind of a reiteration of what John Barrasso and Harriet Hageman had to say. Let me read you the first two paragraphs. And I quote, Wyoming's Republican congressional delegation all claimed victory for former President Donald Trump in Tuesday's debate with Vice President Kamala Harris. Quote, she is the most radical left candidate ever to run for the presidency, Representative Harriet Hageman said. Quote, in Kamala Harris, we saw a dangerously liberal candidate who will double down on the failed policies of the last 4 years. That was Senator John Barrasso. The people of Wyoming deserve better. President Trump tonight shared his strong vision to reverse the high prices and open borders of the Biden administration. He articulated a plan to unleash American energy and to get our country back on track, end quote. So that's all you need to know from Representative Hageman and Senator Barrasso. But it's not until you get into the meat of the article do we see that Trotsky's real bias comes through. And let's see here. Where is it? Yes, here we go. Down about a page and a half. And of course, on the program, I print out every article that I talk to you about. So I don't know. You may just have to scroll down, but it's under the heading character. And in here is where Trotsky reveals his bias. And I quote, Harris spoke to presidential character throughout the 90-minute debate, saying people are ready to move on from Trump and his tactics. Quote, we don't want a leader that's constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other, Harris said. The true measure of a leader is the strength is not the strength in beating people down. It's lifting people up. The Wyoming Democratic Party made a few comments, and then he quotes Mike Yin. And here's the last comment. This is the one that tells you everything you need to know. Quote, Harris also mentioned during the debate, now she has the endorsement of former Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney and her father, former President Dick Cheney. Trump didn't respond to this mention. Now, that is pretty much all that Trotsky says about character. You notice there's nothing in there about Harris's character, how she lied repeatedly during the debate. In fact, coming up here in just a little bit, I'm going to bring you a piece. It's the 25 lies that Kamala Harris told last night during the debate. 25 big ones that not a single one of them was quote unquote fact checked by David Muir from ABC News. Nope, none of that was fact checked at all. And Trotsky doesn't even bother to say, well, Kamala Harris's character is in question. She advocated for bailing people out of jail that were burning down American cities. How much character could she have? That she's a radical Marxist, a point that she didn't respond to in the debate. Trump straight up said that she's a Marxist and her dad's a Marxist. And you'll notice, if you go back and listen to it, you didn't hear a peep from Kamala Harris. Why, you might ask? because it's absolutely true. Kamala Harris is a radical leftist Marxist, and there's ample evidence to prove it. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to bring you that 25 lies that Kamala Harris told during the debate. During the debate. So we'll do that after the break. It's spring in the Cowboy State, or as Albert Summers likes to say, spring-ish. Time to get the motorcycle out of the garage, time to go up the mountain, time to get outside and tromp around. And when you're doing that, you still want to make sure that you take care of your feet. The best way that you can do that is order a pair of Kenai boot socks from the Buffalo Wool Company. I know, your mama always told you that wool socks are only to be worn during the winter. But times have changed, my friends. The Kenai boot socks from the Buffalo Wool Company will not only keep your feet nice and toasty warm, they'll keep them cool and dry in the summer. Trust me, these are the most incredible socks that you're ever going to put on your feet. To get you a pair, go to their website, thebuffalowoolco.com. You're definitely not going to be disappointed. Wyoming is one of the most sought-after places to live. There's a lot of people that want to move to our great state. And if you're thinking about selling your house to one of them, you need a real estate agent that you can trust. That agent is Rebecca Bextel at Compass Real Estate. She's lived in Jackson for almost 20 years and has her fingers on the pulse of the real estate market. Last year, she sold almost $25 million worth of property. So if you're thinking of buying or selling, give Rebecca a call. Her phone number is 307-699-3519.
What's got to I feel strong from every day though. Well, show you.
With each passing day, Cowboy state politics gets stronger. The program continues to expand. More and more viewers listen to the news and commentary coming out of this program. It's unlike anything in anywhere else in the Cowboy state. Welcome back to the program, my friends. David Iverson behind the silver Cowboy state politics microphone, doing what I was born to do with talent given to me by God himself. Welcome back to the program, my friends. We're talking about the debate last night. And if you're just joining us on the program, there were a ton of lies that came out of Kamala Harris. Now, it's funny that she pretty much started the debate pointing to Donald Trump and saying, this guy's going to tell you a whole bunch of lies. The implication being, of course, that Kamala Harris won't tell you lies. But there's a good piece from the Federalist this morning. The 25 lies that Kamala Harris told in her debate against Donald Trump. Here's the first one, that she was a middle-class kid. Well, the truth is that Kamala Harris was never a middle-class kid. As previously reported on by journalist Megyn Kelly, Harris's father was a professor at Stanford University, while her mother was a biomedical scientist at UC Berkeley. Not exactly middle class. Number 2, Trump's tax cuts. Harris falsely insinuated that the 2017 tax cuts approved by the Trump administration disproportionately benefited America's billionaires and corporations. But that, again, is not true, my friends. Data produced by the IRS has shown that, quote, on average, all income brackets benefited substantially from the Republicans' tax reform law. This is a common mantra from the left. They refuse to admit that ordinary, everyday Americans like you and me were the beneficiaries of the Trump tax cuts. Number three, Trump's sales tax. Harris claimed that Trump will implement a national sales tax. Trump has not pledged to do such a thing if elected president, nor has that shown up anywhere else. That's bullcrap straight out of the bullcrap monster, Kamala Harris. January 6th. Now, this one was bound to come up. Harris contended that on January 6th, riot at the Capitol was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. Contrary to Harris's claim, the January 6th events did not put American self-governance in jeopardy, nor did it expose Americans to the risk of those experienced during World War I, the Japanese attacks on Pearl Harbor, or World War II, to name a few. Project 2025. Now, this one is one that the Democrats desperately want to be true. It's just not. Project 2025 was started by the Heritage Foundation, and it doesn't really have anything to do with Trump. In fact, they do this every year, saying, here are some conservative policy prescriptions should we win the presidency. And that's all it is. The only difference this year is they were a little bit more public about it. Number 6 was restoring Roe. First of all, there's no way that Kamala Harris is going to get enough votes to restore Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump made that perfectly clear during the debate. Second, the Supreme Court already ruled that that decision is up to the states. So it doesn't really matter if Kamala Harris passes a law enshrining Roe v. Wade into American law. It's already going to be ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Democrats are usually the ones that like precedents. They're the ones that are always complaining about it. Why not in this case? Number 7, pro-life laws criminalize miscarriages. This one is just flatly not true at all. There is no basis in fact here. Harris claimed that several states have Trump abortion bans that make it criminal for a doctor or a nurse to provide health care, threaten women with prison time, and make no exception even for rape or incest. The life-saving laws designed to protect thousands of innocents every year from elective abortions, however, do not criminalize treatments for spontaneous loss or complications. In fact, every single pro-life policy on the books includes exceptions for abortion when it is deemed necessary to protect the life of the mother. Every single one of them. Number 8 is Trump's abortion stance. That one he covered pretty clearly in the debate. Trump, Harris told Americans on Tuesday night, will sign a national abortion ban. That's just not true. Number 9. Ninth-month abortions do not exist. This one is flatly not true. Harris also used her time on the debate stage to assert that nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for abortion. Quote, that is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. Data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, however, show that thousands of abortions are performed after 21 weeks of gestation. The CDC's findings do not include reporting from at least 4 abortion-friendly states, California, Maryland, New Hampshire, and New Jersey, which suggests the number of late-term abortions in the United States is actually a lot higher. And I played this soundbite during the morning show, but as you all know, if you're a listener to Cowboy State Politics, the killing of little babies is a subject I take very, very seriously. And we should make no bones about it. Whenever somebody says abortion, really what it is killing babies, because that's what you're doing. And here is Governor Ralph Northam from the great Commonwealth of Virginia telling you exactly what happens in his fair state. Listen to this.
And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion, even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say, this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe
makes my stomach
deformities, there may
turn.
be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen.
Listen,
the infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
That we're going to deliver the baby, make it comfortable, and then we're going to decide what to do with it. That's not blown out of proportion at all, and it completely disproves what Kamala Harris is saying. The good Governor Ralph Northam just admitted that in his state of Virginia at the time, and probably still, that you can kill a baby after it's born. It's just absolutely revolting, my friends. And that Kamala Harris would deny any of it is further proof that she just doesn't need to be anywhere near the Oval Office. Number 10, the border bill. Now this one's easy. Joe Biden has the authority to close the border right now. He doesn't need a bill from Congress or anybody, and Harris claiming that it was Donald Trump that killed the bill is just absolutely bullcrap. Number 11, the SCOTUS immunity ruling. This one follows the historical precedent of how we treated the presidency. It's not some radical decision. Number 12, the fracking ban. Kamala Harris absolutely has been said that she is going to do away with fracking. The Minnesota rioters bail fund. That was Harris said that it was a lie that she supported that. The tweet is still on her Twitter feed, my friends. You can see where she's trying to raise money for bail for rioters in Minneapolis. Trump's role in January 6th. One that really made the top of my head come off is number 15. All of the deaths on January 6th. There was only one person that died on January 6th, and her name was Ashley Babbitt. And she was shot by a Capitol police officer. He's the only person that died on January 6th. And this one, though it is repeated over and over and over by the liberal press, is an absolute lie. Number 16, the Fine People hoax. This one makes my head explode, my friends. Fortunately, before the show, I taped my head pretty securely with duct tape, so it's not going to happen this time. But it is absolutely bullcrap that Trump said, well, there's just very fine people on both sides. Now, it's bullcrap because he did say that, but not 30 seconds later, he condemned white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Number 17, the bloodbath hoax. We talked about this one on the morning show. He was talking about the economy, about the election. Trump's NATO comments is number 18. Number 19 is autocrats' preferences for president. It is Vladimir Putin who endorsed Kamala Harris. Combat zones. Number 21, blaming Trump for Biden's botched Afghanistan withdrawal. This one is particularly egregious. Trump didn't have anything to do with the Afghan withdrawal that Joe Biden screwed up so bad. It wasn't Trump that left $85 billion worth of military equipment for the Taliban to take. It wasn't Trump that allowed 13 soldiers to die in a suicide bombing while they were trying to get the heck out of Dodge. It was not Trump who left hundreds, if not thousands of Americans behind in Afghanistan. Donald Trump didn't do any of those things because he wasn't in office. Number 22, gun confiscation. Kamala Harris is absolutely in favor of what she calls mandatory buybacks. Well, that's gun confiscation, my friends. On the morning show, I played you several sound bites of that one, or at least one of them. Number 23, Trump's foreign policy record. Number 24, defunding the police. Kamala Harris has absolutely been in favor of that. And number 25, in vitro fertilization. In an attempt to link Democrats' abortion goals with in vitro fertilization, Harris claimed that under Donald Trump's abortion bans, couples who pray and dream to have a family are being denied IVF treatments. Trump, however, has openly advocated for in vitro fertilization and even promised that he would make taxpayers fund it. 25 lies, that all of which went unchecked by David Muir of ABC News and his sidekick. That debate was a disgrace. It was a fiasco, and absolutely it shouldn't have happened. But because ABC News is a bunch of political hacks, that's what you get. Well, we burned through our busy short program today. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch you tomorrow on Cowboy State Politics. From the base of the Bighorns at Cowboy State Politics Studio, I'm Dave Anderson.